Got a question for all of my former players. How was your pro day? So I want to talk about pro days. I just saw Anthony Richardson had a pro day, Bryce Young had a pro day, Will Levis had a pro day, CJ Stroud had a pro day. My question is, what are you going to learn from a pro day that you haven't already learned watching tape? If you're evaluating a talent, you're going to do some research. You're going to do your homework. You're going to watch some film, see how they fare against good competition, see how they do against bad competition, see how they act when things aren't going their way, see what kind of attitude and demeanor they show away from the ball, things like that. It's very nuanced. It's not cut or dry. So when you are at a pro day is like giving somebody a highlight tape. You're only going to show the best things that you've done. And that's great, but that doesn't give an overall picture of the type of player you may be. So pro days, they're misrepresenting what you may or may not be on the field. Where a pro day comes in handy is maybe if you had a subpar 40 time or a subpar combine workout in general. I remember my pro day, I had a decent pro day as a running back. Did not have a very good 40 time. I think my 40 time was like 4.75 or something like that. I think I ran a 4.75 and a 4.76. But when I had my quote unquote pro day at EKU, I ran a 4.48. So in certain situations, if you want to improve on certain things that might matter, that's what a pro day is for. Quarterbacks are a little bit different though. Quarterbacks, you get all year to see what they can do. You can throw the ball 90 yards on dime, but if you couldn't lead your team to a conference title or a good record, or if you're just not a good leader, being able to throw the ball around really doesn't help you. So for all of those guys that I mentioned, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, all of those guys are being picked to be first round picks. If one of those guys are not picked in the first round, that means something happened, a trade or something happened, people fell and the whole board got shaken up, which there's a very good chance of that happening. But everybody on that list, you've seen enough from them. I've seen enough to say it's either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, 1 and 2. It can go in either order for whatever reason. But Will Levis, what did he do in a workout that's going to convince you that that's somebody that you want? Anthony Richardson, what did he do in a workout against air to convince you that you want him any more or less than you already did? Now it seems like these pro days are just a rehearsal to see how some of these guys react in front of the camera. Because what they do, the throwing is kind of irrelevant. You already know if they got a strong arm. And people start putting in these adjectives and these special words and terms like it means something, and it doesn't. Well, now Anthony Richardson, he threw the ball and he's got a lot of energy out of that ball coming out of his hands. And I'm like, what does that mean? That means he throws a good ball. But you knew that watching tape. So if he threw a good ball, but he had a very, very low completion percentage, would that even matter? They bring stuff up when they want to, when it benefits the conversation, and they omit it when it doesn't. It is just a glorified NFL level sack of peer pressure is what it is. Anthony Richardson, because he did so well at the combine, he did something above and beyond. So it made everybody stop and take notice. So anybody that was on the fence on whether he could do A, B, or C, now they are a little bit more convinced from seeing that workout for themselves. But that still doesn't take anything away from what he did on the field. You see what you want to see, you ignore what you want to ignore, but that's not any different than any other time during the year with some of these media heads. Everybody's putting so much stock in these pro days, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you're making a decision based on what you saw on a pro day, you're really not doing your homework.